All right, can you hear me, John?
Yes, I can.
All right, let me get my slide ready and you go ahead and introduce everyone.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar, Small Business and Nonprofit Action Plan Relaunch in Pandemic Times. I'm John Keplinger, and I'm going to be working in the background, fielding your questions and helping to facilitate any logistics that come up. Myself and our presenter today, Cheri Bales, are both members of SCORE, which is a national organization. There is a local chapter here in Southwest Michigan. We provide free of charge counseling for small business entrepreneurs and existing small businesses to help them either get started up or navigate through any challenges that come up. We are a member of the SBA, Small Business Association, at a national level. And so we interact, and we're basically a subdivision of that. On the logistics, we will be recording this presentation. It'll take a day or so for us to process it, but we will send out a link to everyone so that they have the ability to relook and listen to the presentation. We have muted your microphones, but as I mentioned, you have the ability either through our chat function or the Q&A to submit questions. And after approximately 20 minutes or so, we'll have a brief break and field any questions at that time. But definitely around 5 o'clock, we've reserved the last 15 minutes for additional questions. So again, feel free to go ahead and submit those. I'll now introduce Cheri. Cheri Bales is a SCORE mentor, and she has been since 2017. She's the owner of Hannah Gold Communications, and that's been in business since 1991. Her marketing expertise reaches far and wide, and today she's going to speak to you about communicating during a pandemic. Before I turn it over to Cheri, I just want to let you know that Cheri has already pre-populated in the chat box a couple important links that you can use. One is a free trial to use Constant Contact, which is what we're going to be talking through today, as well as some other tools that can help you from Constant Contact. With that, I'll turn it over to Cheri.
You got this. That's the way to start any meeting, right? So take a deep breath. Think about your marketing for a second. If it makes you shake a little, it's okay, because you got this, and we're going to help you figure it out. Hi, everyone. I'm Cheri Bales, as John said. John he was kind of modest. He's our education director for SCORE Kalamazoo, Southwest Michigan, and he really has a driving force behind these workshops and webinars. But this is number, I think it's 14, I'm not positive, 14 in a row. We're going for a record here. Every Monday, just trying to get some information out to you guys as we get it, show you some tools that are helpful, share some stories from in the trenches. And today's examples are actual clients and customers of mine and of SCORE and local businesses that I think you'll find pretty interesting. So keep rolling. Let's take a look at this. Where are we? We're somewhere we've never been before. We're all doing business differently. We are all uncertain about how the situation with the COVID virus is going to play out. And I'm just going to call it the COVID because that's how I refer to it now. But business owners and nonprofit organizations, right now, you're all kind of wondering, how do we minimize our losses? And, what steps do we take to actually protect our organization? I mean, it could be that some of our small businesses are that dire. But the good news is that y'all are a very resilient group. And if you're a small business owner, that already speaks volumes to your dedication. So even if you're feeling a little overwhelmed right now and unsure of what you need to do, I want you to take this presentation for what it's worth, and maybe look at one or two of the ways that you can take stock of where you are, take some action. I'm going to give you some practical tips here. We know things are developing rapidly, that the key is to remain flexible and not schedule your posts out too far in advance. But first, let's just lay out our time together today. So I'm here today to help you identify and overcome these obstacles, and we know that there are some, to actually restarting, relaunching your business, what to do, what to say, where to go. We want to talk about converting to a digital solution if you don't currently have a system like a Constant Contact that can provide you with email marketing and event management and online selling platforms. Definitely need to talk about a way to stay in contact with customers. Email blasts. I'm going to show you some really cool examples. What can you market during a pandemic? That's the big question. And we'll talk about the ethics of marketing in general and the ethics of marketing during a pandemic. What are we planning for the future for our relaunch? And then John said we have some questions. Please drop them in the chat box or the Q&A section. I have your questions that you uploaded at registration. And some of those I will be addressing as I actually go through the presentation. So I'm keeping track of that. If I don't, make sure you wave at the end and flag us. So business as usual doesn't exist. I don't know of all my clients and all of my friends and all of my relatives, I don't know anyone whose business is normal, quote unquote normal. I don't know anyone whose business has not changed. We've all had to adapt, and we're all trying to get through things just as good as we can. But when it comes to marketing, we want to think of some things that will help us to better help our customers. So you'll hear me talk about differentiation or your special sauce. Basically, it's what is different about you. And I'm not going to spend much time on this today because that's a whole different workshop, and there's a new one coming next week. But how are you different? What's your service? What's your product? What's your delivery? You know, and someone says, well, we have top-notch service. Okay, that's great, but so do 7,252 other people in a radius of 10 feet. So how are you really different? What's different about your business? What's different about your product? What's different about your service? You know, when people started doing carryout that had never done carryout before, that was a big hit for people. A lot of people really like that convenience. Right now, the states are uncertain. I know I have people from Florida on here. I know I have people from Texas. You guys, I don't know what to tell you, but we're looking at different geographic drawings for where our customers are. Now, if you have things online or you're a virtual service or industry online, then this isn't as important to you. But if we're in a lockdown, let's say that we're in a stay-home order like Michigan has been in before, you're going to be in very close confines to your customers, and you want to recognize and realize that those customers that normally would travel 25 or 30 minutes to see you may not be the same customers. That may need to be people who are closer physiologically or geographically to you. What do they need versus what they want? I put need here because it's quite different from want. When we were low on yeast and flour and alcohol and sanitizers and masks, those are needs. I did not need to buy a car online through a vending machine. So, you know, someone saying, well, when you need to buy a car, that's not really a need to me in a time of crisis like many of us have been through. That's a want. And we need to attract our customers. We need to attract our customers by meeting or filling one of their needs. The wants are coming, believe me. RV sales are up, bike sales are up, boat sales are up. A lot of people are fulfilling their wants. But if we're going to talk about relaunching and being very cautious about how far to go and how fast to go, I would focus on needs. And then next we'll talk about what you can try. So if you are not selling your product online right now, if you are a product-based business, I'm looking down the list here and I don't see a whole lot. I see a lot of nonprofits, which is great because I'm going to talk to you guys today for sure. But those of you that have actual brick and mortars or your online donations, your nonprofit organizations, this is for you. So it might be the time to give it a try. And John mentioned Constant Contact, and I tossed a link up for you in the chat. I use Constant Contact for so many different things, and I'm going to reference it throughout the day here several times. That doesn't mean you have to. There are other ways to do it, and I can probably tell you other ways to do it. But looking at bullet point 1, if you are a nonprofit, can you accept online donations? If your answer is no, Constant Contact can fix that for you. They actually have a donation, 501c3 certified. I'm not positive if you can get it with a 503B, 50, I don't know, 50 something B. I know if you have a 501c3 and you can verify that you can then accept online donations via their PayPal through an app in Constant Contact called Events. Can you mobilize volunteers in an online action? Again, here's some questions for nonprofits, and I'll show you some actual examples of that. Can you actually get your volunteers to do stuff without you all being there, without you all showing up in the same place, without giving out t-shirts? You know, maybe it's an each one reach one campaign, and it's an online auction to raise money, or an online action, sorry. You could have an auction too, I suppose, but an online action that allows people to easily share your message. So a fundraiser on Facebook comes to mind. If you have 5 partners as your fundraisers and make them hosts, that's 5 times the people that will see your news. Can you sell tickets for an event online? Again, Constant Contact has one of the best event platforms I've used. I've used MailChimp, I've used Eventbrite. I like Facebook, that's fine. I don't have anything against that. But I like the CRM that Constant Contact gives you, because as you're selling tickets, you're collecting valuable remarketing data. And remarketing means once you give me your email, like you just did today or yesterday when you signed up for this, I am now entitled to send you an email message. Now, you're certainly able to unsubscribe, but you become part of my, what we call a CRM, a customer relationship management database. So basically in Constant Contact, they are called contacts, and they are just your lists of audiences. And last week we talked about how to segment those audiences. Oh, and someone was asking me about MailChimp versus Constant Contact. You only get 5 segments in MailChimp at level 2. So that's just ridiculous, and I'm not going back over there. Does your product or your service lend itself to online sales? So my business is consulting, and it's marketing, and it's strategy, and it's workshops, and it's online stuff, and Google My Business, and analytics, and website. My business didn't really need to change too much to offer my businesses as an online business, or offer my services online. And I did. I boosted I made a few ads. You know, I did some extracurricular things like these webinars, and I did a 14-day marketing challenge. Those are all ways to generate interest online, and then theoretically collect some emails so that you can go back to those people. All right, all of you with products now, products and such. Do you have a platform for ordering and paying online? Does your website allow that? Do you have a current well-functioning, high-functioning e-commerce website that lets you sell things online and collect money? If not, again, the answer is Constant Contact. One answer is Constant Contact. You can set up an online sales portal in Constant Contact in about, I'm going to say about 30 minutes maybe. It's really, really not difficult. And again, you get that virtue of having the PayPal. If you're a nonprofit and you're selling hats or t-shirts or something, people can make an additional donation. If you don't have a way of selling your stuff and taking orders and collecting money online, you probably don't want to go out there and advertise that you're going to do that. So I would get that platform in place. And part of that strategy is then, do you have a method for packaging and shipping? Constant Contact will keep the inventory of your pieces. If you have 2,000 rubber duckies and you sell 1,000 of them, Constant Contact's saleable landing pages, shoppable landing pages, will even keep track of your inventory. They'll print out a shipping label, and they'll calculate tax and handling for you. So one tool you can do. Another idea for getting in front of people is to move your in-person events and classes online. Now, a lot of people were really uncomfortable with this because it was hard to figure out, A, how you're going to do it if you didn't have a studio and the right equipment and the right video cameras. And I'm not sure I want to be the face to talk to everyone. But it started to get more comfortable and easier, and Zoom started to be a thing, and then Zoom bombers were a thing. And so more and more business people started getting comfortable using Zoom for other things. So then when it was time and they felt more confident, they began to use it in their businesses. So for example, a gym, a health club, a yoga studio. I tell this story of being on a conference call with a bunch of small businesses out of Battle Creek, Michigan, Southwest Michigan. And one was a coffee shop, one was a noodle store, and one was a yoga studio. By the end of that call, those three had figured out how the coffee shop was going to pay the yoga teacher to broadcast a live event, and then they were going to send people home with coffee and noodles to take part in the event. I don't know how you're going to do yoga with coffee and noodles. Maybe it was before or after. But so they came to a way that the yoga studio could become a valid revenue stream for this woman. And so a lot of people have done free things, like these workshops have been free. We've actually been told by SCORE that we need to start charging, but I'm not gonna. And so they've done something where they've monetized something that they couldn't do face to face, but they have found a way. I'm going to show you pictures of some of these folks. A third way is no contact, and I think the key term here is touchless delivery or takeout services. So you have to tell them what you're doing in order for them to want to shop with you. So if you have a local business who delivers, and I'm going to show you some examples of some clients who got together with other clients and built packages to go, boxes that you would pick up and then you'd reserve and watch the live demo at 7 o'clock on Facebook. But each one of these clients that has been successful has been really straightforward. So it's kind of hard to write a post that says, we have an employee who has tested positive for COVID and we're closing down our business for 2 weeks. That's a hard message to write, but I'm going to show you what happens when you are transparent. Tell them what your hours are, what your open status is. So many of your websites are suffering, not yours in particular, our websites are suffering with Google search rankings because if your business has not changed its hours to accommodate COVID, and Google finds out that you're truly actually closed or functioning at different hours, they're going to downgrade your website. And so that's something that I just learned today in a Google webinar that I was listening to. So go on there and change your hours, change your hours on your Facebook page. And you might have to do it. I mean, I have a client that I have to change their hours 4 times throughout the week because we don't want the same hours. And then changing those hours every day also reactivates Google to go, oh, fresh content, let's show that to people. So the more you change these things, believe it or not, the better it is for you. Explain your process thoroughly. A husband is taking me up north for a golf trip. His golf, I'm laying by the pool probably and working. But he said, well, what about this place? What about this place? And he sent me links to the 2 hotels. And I pulled up the first one and I was like, yeah, okay, it's a resort. Yeah, no big deal. Pulled up the second one. It's a little family run place. But the banner on their front page said, here's what we're doing for COVID. 48 hours between, or I might have been 3 days between rooms, common areas, masks, blah, blah, blah. I said, sure, yeah, this will work. And I haven't left home other than for groceries and pickleball since March. So it really did give me confidence. That process, I need to know that process, be really, truly invisible with that. And then let them know that the reason that they're choosing you is because you're providing that need or that want for them. Hey, we can help you. It's a good idea. I'll keep you safe, or I'll deliver it to your doorstep, or it's contactless delivery, or it's shipping is free. Whatever it is, they need to know that you are that person that they should be making the purchasing decision from. For nonprofits, You still might be able to provide some services to your community, even though thinking through social distancing, let people know, like if you're out doing outreach, or you're had somebody campaigning door to door at my house the other day, and I was appalled that he wasn't wearing a mask and he was running for public safety office. But you know, you just, for nonprofits, just be honest, tell people what you can and what you can't do. And then everyone should consider how they can help. We're going to take a break right after this for a couple of questions. But right now, anything that you can do to help is a marketing opportunity. Oh, that sounded cold, didn't it? Anything you can do to help is a goodwill opportunity. There, how's that? That's probably a little bit better. So for example, staying top of mind is everybody's marketing effort right now. How do you do that? You get in the news, you make a wave, you do something different, you create something new, you offer something unique, but you have to actually keep offering. And if you're not offering, and if you're not posting, and you're not updating your website, then you're not going to stay top of mind. Consider donating. I mean, you don't have to blow your own horn, but I had a client, a bakery client, and I mean, bakeries don't just stop. They have ongoing baking needs. I guess it's kind of like sourdough starter. You have to just keep it alive. So this bakery had all these baked goods and couldn't sell them because they did not have an online delivery function. They did not have a way to social distance for drop off and pickup. And like some people have an airlock door, a door and then another door and a table in between. They didn't have any of that. And I said to her, I said, well, what if you gave it away? And she goes, well, I might as well. I can't sell it. I go, no, I'm serious. And she took it to a local hospital who actually had been her client prior to the pandemic, ordering her bread and her baked goods, and she donated it. And she just gave it to them. You know, there was a couple $1,000s worth of baked goods there. But the goodwill that formed for her, and then shortly after that, she was in tears on that phone call with me. And shortly after that, she just made like a 180-degree swap, and she's all over the internet, and she's selling fancy cakes and cupcakes, which at that time you couldn't get either. So you know, maybe that donation will make you feel good as well. All right, it's not just for the publicity, but what can you do to help? Be respectful of the situation. If your brand doesn't align with something that someone's doing as an activism or as a point of view or a standpoint, you don't have to get behind it, okay? If you don't believe in a current political or medical or legal situation, don't talk about it. Just don't talk about it. You don't have to go down on it. You don't have to go up on it. You just don't have to talk about it. And here, we need to be respectful. This is a very serious issue in a lot of people's minds. And your organization is going to decide where you stand on that issue. And then finally, how can you help this cross-marketing and partnerships? Oh, I'm going to show you some really great stories about that. Let's see, is this where you want to stop or is it the next one? You know what, let's stop here. Let's back up here for just a minute. John, do you have any questions coming in, or I'm going to take a couple off my sheet if you don't?
We don't have any new questions, so why don't you look at your sheet and take care of a couple of those.
All right. Well, I have a few nonprofits on here. I have Gary who says how nonprofits can reinvent themselves in the COVID area with virtual online tools. You know, Gary, I think that's going to be a mix of email marketing, online donation platforms, perhaps online volunteer recruiting, perhaps online volunteer events like a virtual Mardi Gras party. It's going to be tough, but the key is in communication. And for you, the key is going to be in email marketing, because email marketing has a better open rate and a better response rate than any social media advertising out there. With that being said, go give your media list, your mailing list some love, because if you can whip that into shape so that you have first name, last name, email, and phone number at a bare minimum, for you nonprofits, it'd be great, or anyone, it'd be great to get birthdays and anniversaries, because again, constant contact, You can send an email on someone's birthday. Here's your birthday balloon bouquet from this organization. So there's a lot of things you can do, but it's just going to have to be a constant, say I can say struggle, battle, a constant effort on your part. It will have to be a strategic communication and marketing plan. And just one thing to keep in mind, to get people to sign up for this webinar, which is free and really wasn't very hard to sign up for, we usually send out between 6 and 8 communications to people. So sorry if you already signed up and you got another one, because we don't do it from the event platform in Constant Contact, we do it somewhere else. So nonprofits reinvent themselves. Yeah, keep watching. There are some really great examples coming up that I will show you. Let's see, consulting service, inexpensive website, yep. Fundraising using social media. Suzanne from Berrien County. Hi, Berrien County. That's in our neighborhood. How to transition to online marketing and fundraising utilizing social media. So Facebook's going to be your friend. Constant Contact's going to be your friend. LinkedIn's going to be your friend. If you are a 501c3, yes, you are. You will be able to verify that with Facebook, and then you will be able to hold a fundraiser via Facebook, right on your Facebook page, and all of your friends can hold a fundraiser for you on your behalf. That's a wonderful thing. And then you could use Constant Contact to email all of your constituents, your clients, your vendors, your legal representatives, your media representatives, and you can just start peppering them with emails and sending them to your fundraising sites, whether they're on Facebook or Constant Contact. All right, I'm going to go fly on here then. So what should you be doing now? Well, the immediate need is for you to stay in contact. You have to stay in touch with your customers, even if you're having to pay some money to Facebook to put your Facebook page in front of people. People are overwhelmed with choices, especially right now that things have opened up some and people are like kids in candy stores just going crazy. And so many people are competing for that customer dollar. But in my mind, that customer dollar is only going to come to you when that customer feels perfectly safe and knows exactly what they're walking into. So update your website, put your COVID policy up there. Put a big, we're open, list your hours, list any weird days you're going to be closed, like the 3rd Saturday of May or whatever. And then send that out to your people in email. Put your staff on that email list, put all of your relatives and your friends. You never know who's going to be a referral source, right? And we've talked about segmenting your emails so you can send particular messages to particular groups. So we have, with one of my clients, we have a Portage Beer Club and we have a Kalamazoo Beer Club. Well, the Portage Beer Club might get one special and the Kalamazoo Beer Club might get a different special. So when we're emailing our customers, we're making sure that we're choosing the right segment of the audience to get that messages. Post to your social channels. If you have COVID announcements, pin them to the top of your page. People want to see them. And there's this little button at the top of your Facebook post that has 3 little dots on the top right. And if you click that, you can say pin to top, I believe it says. And I'll put it at the top of your posts of your scroll, and that'll help people find it. Oh, dear Lord, update your Google My Business. If you're saying, what's a Google My Business? Call me afterwards and I'll set you up. Basically, if you are a business, you should have a Google My Business profile. And maybe I'll do an entire session where we just set one up. It's not hard. It will require a verification. If you have a business address and phone number, make sure you use exactly the business address and phone number as it appears on your lease license, whatever, because that will then forever after be the Google's way of identifying you. And if you don't spell drive, D-R, you spell it D-R-I-V-E, they might decide not to show it to anyone. So Google My Business, whole cool thing out there. It's free. It's basically Facebook by Google. So when I say Google My Business, I do not mean spending money. Very clear description or differentiation there. Google My Business is basically Google's response to Facebook. You just put posts up there, you put lots of photos, and all of your business information, time, hours, dates, products, menus, services. You can max that baby out, and that helps your search results overall. And then think about signage. I went to pick up pizza one time early on because it's one of my kids' birthday and they really like this pizza. And the place I was going did not have a carryout window. I knew they did not have a carryout window. And she said, just look for the window. And I'm driving around the building looking for the window. And then finally I see someone waving out this teeny tiny little hole in the window. And I said, it'd be really cool if you had a big sign that said, oh, I don't know, open or here. And so now they have all kinds of great signage. I drove by there the other day. Constant Contact also has you, I think I threw this in the chat links as well. They actually give you templates. And with this free trial offer that I stuck up there, I think it's 60 days now because they've just been pumping their services up for COVID. They've just been getting these new things around for small businesses just quick as you can believe. So they have everything from custom templates. If you are a free account, they will make you a custom template, all the way into COVID already template formed email messages. All right, here we go. This is the tough spot. How do we know that it's not coming across as insensitive? All right, remember, you have to be transparent. It's okay to market right now. It's okay for a nonprofit to ask for donations. You just have to be sensitive to the current situation and respectful of the audience and what the audience is going through. Okay, so we've talked about all the different channels. We've got email, we've got event platforms, we have Facebook platforms, Google My Business platforms, all these different places where you can put things. But what I want you to do before you do anything is take a deep breath and take stock of the situation. So the ethics of, you'll see on the sideline here, reassurance, positivity, clarification, and information. That's what people want from you. They want to be reassured. They want positivity. They want clear and precise information from you. So take stock of the situation and realize that tensions could be high. There's more than one side to every pancake, according to Dr. Phil. And regardless of whether you end up publishing a message or not, don't just blast something out there. I've actually seen a couple of businesses really go down in flames because of some things they said on Facebook. There was a local group that was started on Facebook, and within a month, I would say they had 35,000 members. And they just got into some kind, I didn't see it happen, so I don't know what it was, but somebody made a comment about something and somebody else didn't like the comment. They just shut the group down, 35,000 members. And they said, this isn't why we're here. So before you put out a message, be careful what you say. Don't make jokes. I still think it's too early for COVID memes. I know there's a time and a place, and we do need humor to cope with grief and loss and isolation. But just as a business, know what your voice is and what your stance is. And don't lower yourself to that because you're desperate for likes and shares and clicks and comments. Stay on track. Oh, here's one. Share only information from reliable sources. I would avoid right now sharing pretty much anything from anyone. I would look up my own data. If you're gonna use some sort of data or background information or data, I keep coming back to data, numbers or statistics or whatever. I'm going to go look that up myself and create a new post because it's all too easy to click share and then find out that it's from 2017 in an underground college newspaper. And that's not what it looked like at all. So don't just click share. This one, I had 6-month editorial calendars for my clients scheduled out through September. I cannot right now in good conscience invite people from Chicago to come to Northern Michigan or from Detroit to come to Northern Michigan where I have a resort client. We can't do it. It's just not what they want to do. So we unscheduled all those posts. And then remember, reassurance, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, that you are doing what they need you to do because otherwise they aren't coming. All right, so here's some more ethics. time, place, content, and results. Don't bombard people with too many posts. I'm surprised the question isn't in here. How many is too many? Enough that when people start unsubscribing, you should slow down. For most small businesses, if you're not in the entertainment or food or some really, really quick moving industry, 3 to 4 posts a week are probably plenty. And if they're strategically doing something for you, meaning they are educating people, when you look back here, are we educating, reassuring, clarifying, informing? If they're doing something, then maybe they'll work out for you better than if you're posting something minute and irrelevant 5 times a day, 5 days a week. Things that really work, things that get the biggest, most hugest, I love that word, hugest engagement right now is behind the scenes. The restaurant that I mentioned that had to close down, they did a great campaign when they reopened. They just took pictures of all their servers, like lined up, I don't know, like a service, like an Army Corps of Engineers, just lined up anyway, lined up in these rank and file with their masks and their gloves on like they were ready to do battle. And it was a great picture. Don't forget too that if you've got email, tell your followers and whoever you're emailing or whoever you're posting on Google My Business, put out a link to have them sign up for your email. Remember, those emails are like gold. That is your prospects list. If you ever sold used cars, you guarded your prospects list with your life. Well, those emails coming into you are your prospects list. So don't forget to take advantage of them. Be true, I think I mentioned that. And don't forget a call to action. I'm going to point out what that is, but I'm going to give you a synopsis definition. All right, a call to action is what you, small business owner, are asking me, potential buyer or customer, to do, take action upon when you read or see my post. Okay, so it's a call to action for the reader to do something. Click here, learn now, buy online, order. I'll show you some examples. So here's some tools that I'm going to go over that you can use. Again, all these available in Constant Contact. The social media thing that they've added is just phenomenal, and so is the Google advertising. I can actually go into Constant Contact, do an email blast, schedule it to go to all of my social channels, create a Google ad, and be done in 20 minutes. So I really like it. I'm happy to talk about Constant Contact. I'm not here to sell it to you though, just to show you that there is one tool that makes it fairly straightforward. But first we're going to talk about email, all right? There are within Constant Contact, and I sent you that, I think I told you, some templates already provided within that. Here's some things you can share via email for small businesses. A change in day-to-day operations. So when my restaurant went from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Wednesday, no, Friday, Saturday, Sunday only to Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that was worthy of an email, and then we went out with an email saying a Wednesday special, but we sent it out and they came, all right? Highlight your delivery, your takeout, your non-contact, all of that goes in an email. It's just fine. Clarify if you have any product or support availability challenges. This restaurant, when it opens on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, runs out of food. They literally run out of food because the supply chains are so spotty. And so they have on their, we've set up on their website a button that clicks on when they've run out of capacity for something. Which is just really handy for people to know before they order and then find out that you're out of that. So let people know if you're having trouble supplying things, and make sure you tell them how they can buy merchandise and gift cards. They're not necessarily just going to spend money on a product. There's a place called Downtown Kalamazoo Partnership, which early on in the pandemic, in the COVID, started a fundraising support Kalamazoo restaurants by selling the Kalamazoo restaurant card. And I mean, all of the money then was used at those restaurants. And so by letting people buy gift cards, they were buying them and giving them to frontline workers and donating them to food pantries and things like that. For your nonprofits, as I said, quick drink. And I heard if you pause, people will look back at the screen. Nonprofits, you have an opportunity right now to do good, and to do good where it's needed most and where it's needed quickly. And I don't think it would be a hard sell to get anyone I personally know, well, I know it wouldn't be a hard sell to get anyone I personally know to donate to a food program. So my immediate thought upon the schools closing in my small little community here with like graduating class of 200 was, who's going to feed these kids? We have a 27% free reduced lunch rate in our school district. Lots of rural. And so I got with my favorite food pantry, and they had a page on Facebook, and they were a 501c3. And I said, I'm going to hold a fundraiser for you. Tell me what you're going to do with the money. And they said, we're going to buy A, B, and C. And I said, okay. And I hit that fundraiser and invited all of my friends, and they invited all their friends. We had $5,000 in 3 days. So a donation right now can make a huge difference. And that's what our follow through with all our nonprofit donors is about, is here's the difference you made. And then reassure them, you know, we all have to do an annual report, but we could do more than that. So an email blast might be a great opportunity to say, look what your money did in wherever this week. You know, we were able to help this many people do this much stuff. Those are regular communications that remind people of how good you are and how much they enjoy giving to you. And you have the opportunity then to ask them for more at the time by staying engaged on your social media, on your emails. You know, you're not begging for money every single time. You know, 20%, 30%. Right now, I'd say 50% of the time you could be asking for donations, and the other 50% just educating. Consider if you can tie in any activities with others in the community. So diaper drives, Mothers Against Hunger, all got together and did an event, a virtual event, a drive-through event where they provided toilet paper and diapers and wipes and formula. And without all those organizations, one wouldn't be able to do it. And don't be afraid to ask. The call to action for you is donate now, in case you were questioning that. So let's look at some examples. I don't have a whole bunch of time left, but I think I'm going to get through some of these. I think I have like 30 more pages of examples, but these are where I think it really helps you guys. So this is an email example that is informational based. Okay, this is from Bronson Hospital, a local or regional hospital. And here they are doing everything they can to tell me that it's okay to come back, and they are now calling to reschedule appointments and surgeries. See that in bold there? So this is an email. This is an email that I got. And then they're reassuring you. If you feel nervous or unsure, remember, da, 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 da. Then they go and they tell you how to schedule an appointment. They give you a phone number to call. And then they remind you to call 911. Now at the bottom, you see these 3 little buttons down here? Remember, call to action is donate now. Well, the call to action is also create a Bronson MyChart video visit. Need care now, that's going to take you to a hotline. Coronavirus COVID-19, that's going to take you to this hospital's COVID-19 policy. This is an email that they sent me, and I always check my chart and actually did a video visit. I just had poison ivy, but I could have clicked here, and that's their call to action. That's how you close the sale. You got to ask for the sale. Here's one for education. This is actually from Constant Contact. We get these little partner updates just before they rebranded. It looks like June. So they're now partnering with SurveyMonkey. Well, if I didn't know that, I would never try to use SurveyMonkey to do my surveys with Constant Contact. And boy, wouldn't that be easy, because there's just one more thing I can do in Constant Contact now. So this is educational, and it takes me to a blog story or a demo. Same thing here is a download. Constant Contact allows you to put in white papers and PDF files and ebooks and things and let people download them, which I truly, truly find helpful. So email example, education. Email example, community outreach. Lauren, I don't know where you are. You're not on tonight, but I love this girl. She is a SCORE client. success story. She came to SCORE 3 years ago, and she has just gone full steam ahead. She actually had a rental space, then she had a leased space, and then she got a storefront space on the downtown Kalamazoo Mall. And while she was painting and remodeling, the state shutdown came, so she never got to open. And then shortly after that, there were rioters who broke out all of her windows. So this woman is, in my mind, a hero in rebounding for small business, and I tell her that all the time. But so here is an example of community outreach. She's not a nonprofit, okay? She's not. She's an artist. She's a trained master of arts artist. I mean, just amazing. And she does this colors and cocktails business. But here she said, you know what, I'm going to try to get people. And this was cool. They had Tuesday through Friday. They all did chalk. You could learn more. She had a blog going where you could show your pictures and share things. She didn't make any money off of this. So not a call to action for donate or buy, but a call to action for more education or learn more. Another email campaign, John Hoadley for Congress. This is an email that I got in my inbox just a couple days ago, I think. So there's some calls to action. This might be Constant Contact, actually. I love the colors. But here's a link. We want you to join us. My guess is that's how you sign up for this phone bank. Down here, remember donate? I probably would use different words like help us flip the battleground district or something that's more exciting than just donate. Here's a way to sign up for volunteers. Here's a way this Saturday. So that was May. So lots of things in campaigns, and keep in mind this is similar to the nonprofit model because they're asking for donations. This is Western Michigan University, and they've been trying so many different things to keep their alumni engaged. And this doesn't necessarily, I don't know, coincide with my vision of Western Michigan University recipe swap, but they're depending on the Bronco Nation to come up with this. And they asked for send your recipes. And then they asked, if you're a restaurant, do you want to give away one of your recipes to one of your menu items? So we've been passing a lot of time, and Bronco said, why not? Let's get some engagement, and maybe after people get this recipe thing going, they'll give us some money. And then her colors and cocktails, again, cooperative ventures. This gal, like I said, wait, great guns. She joined her business, Colors and Cocktails. Oh, stop. She joined the Aroma Labs and the Perfect Pucker for a sip-and shop. This was pre-COVID, but she also did this post-COVID and put these all in boxes for people to pick up. And she had an RSVP and a way to purchase and a coupon for the first 20 participants. All right, got to keep moving. Here are some tips for communicating on social media. Here's the post that got the 25,000 reach. All right, so this post was written by 3 or 4 people with a lot of careful consideration. And to see 25,000 reach, definitely my biggest social media post ever. And to see 4,000 engagements, that means a like, a comment, a click, or a share, 118 shares, 70 comments, actually one comment said, what day was that? Because I was there. Everyone else was so appreciative and thankful. And this part right here, we thank you for your understanding. We appreciate the huge outpouring of support. That was my sentence. That was my contribution. And I honestly believe that that's what got the best turnaround with so many more positive comments is I planted that seed. I planted that seed for them. Pardon the language, look away. This is a senior pet adoption, and this is the Animal Protection Agency of Missouri, I believe. And they had an adult happy hour, adult adoption happy hour. There was a whole series of these. There were dog ones, there were cat ones. Long and short of it was they increased their Facebook, and this was across platforms. It was Facebook, LinkedIn, their website. They probably did some Google ads. So there's budgets here that some of us don't have to play with. They had 30,000 shares in 10 days. They reached 500,000. They reached 500,000 people. And they had adoptions. The most important, my keyboard is really sensitive. Most important things is that they had 35% more adult dogs adopted faster. Here's a campaign, also one, a nonprofit. And this is a combination. This is for Habitat for Humanity of Pittsburgh, I think. I can't read that small type, Greater Pittsburgh. So this is a combination of website posts, LinkedIn posts, email messaging, and Facebook posts. And you can see the big call to action is donate now. And then there's even more of an urgent donate by midnight tonight. So they were close to their goal. They got the first 8,000 to be matched, which is why they wanted you to donate. They had a 50% above goal raised. 38% of the people were new donors. 42% of their active volunteers participated, and they had a 29% open rate in their email. That's a decently above standard open rate. Here she is again, the colors and cocktails. So she got together with a couple other places. This one looks like a margarita is coming. And they would put these kits together, and you could order them online. You could pick them up from either shop. And then you had a code to sign on to Facebook Live at a certain time, and they would do this. So you would make your beverage, you would paint your glass live with Lauren, and then everybody was happy, and that's what you got to do. So that's some examples of social that I have really enjoyed over the past few months. Now here's some website. All right, this is the restaurant, Latitude 42, big banner, online ordering, okay? That is so important. And I actually caught that screenshot in transition. It's actually full black on white. But down here, you'll notice the COVID statement right on that scroll banner. And up here at the very top, click here to see our COVID policies and procedures. We have a page. We have a whole page. So they had never done a big bunch of carry-out ordering. I mean, they had great carry-out ordering, but they'd never really were forced to do just carry-out. And so this was step one of a whole lot of reworking on their website that's taking place so that they can adapt to the need. And they're doing, I have to say, a very good job. And they were doing a great job before I got involved too. So here's a guy. I had a question on here about if you were a service-based business or if you're a marketing consultant or some sort of a consultant. This is Neil Patel. I'd like to be Neil Patel when I grow up because he's the smartest man I know on marketing and social media and website stuff. And basically, I put you down a link at the bottom there. It's just neilpatel.com. This is how you sell your services online. You give something away. And he's done that. This is his call to action. Do you want more traffic? And remember, this is a website. This is a front page of his website. If you do, type your website URL in here and click continue. Well, I was curious, so I did. And he took me through a series of like 7 strategy questions. And then he has some kind of an algorithm, evidently, that generates a here's what you need to do. So, okay, I'm going to get into that service and I'm going to be able to learn about him on the internet, and I'm going to be able to sign up for his classes. He's got digital subscribers, which means he's got a newsletter. Service-based example of a website. Here's an example. Moving your events to virtual has been a struggle. It has been a struggle for some folks, and I think a lot of churches primarily don't have a tech crew per se. This is Dearborn United Methodist. Shout out to Pastor David Nellis. And he had no idea how to do this stuff, but he just jumped in with both feet, and he has such a great team. And their weekly services are live on Facebook, and he did a morning devotional for about the first 8 or 9 weeks on Facebook. You know, just really a way to get, this is a message that they've got for the online church service. This is an example. Now, this is relatively new. I had not seen this last time I did this presentation and done research on it, but this is a virtual fitness class. This is local. And keep in mind, it's taken these people, you know, a little bit of time to get these curriculum prepared and these things recorded and stuff. But I just thought that was the greatest thing. So you get virtual training gold, silver, or bronze package for only $49 a month. And you're going to get probably personal service, personal trainer, nutrition counseling. I'm not sure what Anytime Fitness. Oh, I do remember Anytime Fitness. I think they opened up before they were supposed to. So now they're doing virtual. Not positive. No, don't get me in trouble with them. This is a client, a SCORE client. Before, her background was like a sunny beach with a palm tree and her name. And I said, that doesn't really tell me what you do. You know, Sunny Beach looks great. But so now the very front of her website says, now accepting telehealth, and here's her call to action. And that takes you not to her website homepage, because we don't just send people indiscriminately to our homepage. Sends them to an appointment center. Here's another fundraising example. This was raising money for buying meals for frontline workers. So you could buy one meal, you could donate $10 to this Acton North Acton Woods in Acton, Massachusetts, looks like, or you could buy 25 meals, or you could buy 5 meals, basically $10 a meal. You could pick it up, or you could have it delivered somewhere anonymously or on your behalf. But that was raising money for a very specific cause here and now, and they could see the results of that activity right away. And don't forget, when you're talking about relaunching and reopening and getting things back on their feet, you need signs, okay? We're sheep. We don't know what to do. And if it's too hard for us to figure out what to do, we're just going to leave. We're just going to turn around and leave. So, I mean, if there's not directions, I'll tell you who does a good job. A couple places. I've been to Home Depot and I've been to Lowe's. They both do a really good job. You pull in, the first place I ever went was Home Depot, because I had to buy 2 toilet repair kits in one day. So I ordered them online for pickup, pulled in. There was a sign that said, turn here, pull here, call this number. No problem. I knew exactly what to do. That's a big parking lot. So, you know, that really made it helpful for me. I see a lot of 6 feet apart stickers on floors. You know, I think those are great reminders for people. Some people don't understand, but still a great reminder. And then as many open signs as you can get, as many signs with your hours on them as you can get, definitely. Whew, so we're coming into the home stretch. What is going to stay and what is going to go? So what you've been doing for the past 3 to 4 to 5 to 8, 10 weeks, depending on how long you've been doing it, of that, did you try to sell online? And did that store get traction? So if it did, even if you only decide, if your goal, your measurable objective is to sell 3 products through Constant Contact shoppable landing page for the month of August, and you want to make $500, if that online store met those goals, then do it again. Did your communication cadence, did the rhythm that you had with your email messaging and your social media posts and your other marketing channels in your Google, did people smiley face? Did they likey comment? Did they give you a thumbs up? Did they share? Those are all things that say, yes, your post is generating goodwill. Did you have reduced hours? What kind of other work modifications? And I'm not talking about just your marketing now. I'm talking about, you know, your relaunch. Everyone I know is having trouble hiring people. And with the pandemic unemployment assistance scheduled to run out at the end of the month, and the current and future care bills tied up in the House and Congress, it could be that people will be looking for work soon, but right now they're not. So if you've had to go to reduced hours because of lack of staff, is it working? What modifications do you need to make? Did you try a virtual event like these workshops? We've had anywhere from 12 people to 100 people. I didn't think they would do that well, but they're free and they're recorded. So, you know, more people probably sign up than join. But that's why I kept doing them, because the comments were great. You know, it felt wonderful to give something back and to just say, here's everything I know. I'll tell you whatever I know. Ask me anything. So I kept them. That's still going to stay in my future. What comes next right now? Make sure you've got supplies. Make sure you can partner. Well, not make sure you can. Look for opportunities to partner. Find a business that complements what you do. Put your heads together. Can you sell coffee and yoga? Maybe. Can you sell wine and wine glasses and paint? Probably. What other things might you have available? And keep in mind that your suppliers, your supply chain providers, may also have some big, deep discounts on certain products because they haven't been able to sell them either. So is there something that you could be doing, selling, buying, getting that you don't have right now? You've got lists. You have so many lists and resources. I won't even go over them, but the biggest ones that I would say to be looking at are the CDC, reopening for small business documents. And they're just about every industry. Checking with your local and your state health department and regulatory agencies, and looking at what your competitors are doing. You know, honestly, there are some folks ahead of the track here that thought, I'm going to open early, and if they catch me, great. And they didn't. So maybe you look at your competitors, you know, and then how are you going to staff it? So this was probably written a couple weeks ago before we knew the PUA was really going to run out. But how are you going to get them back? And it's either one end of the gamut or the other. I hear from clients who go, yeah, people are just stopping in, dropping off resumes. And I find that very hard to believe, because I have other clients who are struggling to hire one or two people. I'm running recruitment ads for 2 different clients right now. So can you get your staff? Can you just go bam right back to regular hours, or are you going to have to ease into it? And I think as long as you're honest and you're straightforward and you tell me, the customer, what we're in for, I'm going to stick with you. You know, if you have to go partial hours at first, I get that. If you have to, you know, close for a couple of weeks to protect me and my family from getting, you know, infected or being exposed, I get that. But the more you tell me, the more I can be there supporting you. This is in the links, I think, as well. If you log into your Play Constant Contact account and you just look up here under COVID-19, all these tools that I've been talking about are all in there. There's campaigns. Contacts is that management of all of your email people. Sign up forms, you get the sign up for email newsletter, join our mailing list, contact us now. The library holds all of your graphic images. Your social allows you to post and schedule posts in advance on social media. You can integrate with sites like WooCommerce, PayPal, Zapier, trying to think of some of the biggest ones. And then also, yes, someone said, is there a way to set up an inexpensive website? Carla, if you're still hanging in with me, this would be my suggestion, is a Constant Contact website. It's not WordPress. It's not even GoDaddy, but it will get you a decent looking landing page that Google will not scorn. So take a look on there, get your free 60-day trial. And then when the Constant Contact people send you an email or call you and say, hey, we want to give you this wonderful new, they really do. Okay, it's not a trick. You're not going to have to pay for any of this. They want to help you set up a website. They want to help you set up an email message. They want to create a new template for you. So don't hedge that call. So just keeping in mind that they have all these things in one place at one point. I don't know the numbers off my head. I probably should, but I know the lowest level is free up to 60 days. And then it's $20 a month for the second level. And then I think to get to the pro, quote unquote, pro level, It's around $45 a month. So if you think of that and you think about your return on investment, and you run an email blast for your donation for your virtual Alzheimer's walk. Let's pick a nonprofit, and you run a newsletter, and you pump this virtual walk, and you've got your email set up, and you've got your event and your registration, and you're collecting people's emails along the way, and you make, even if you make $1,000, you spent 45 to get it. So that's a pretty good return on investment. So you got to think about, what's the end goal with the website? Are you going to need to sell things? Are people going to want to order from you? And then look at the tools that are available and see what best matches your needs. I have another question. I think we're just about at the end. Yeah, I'm going to just take questions here and throw this up here. There's the next webinar. How to introduce people to hear more about your product service. Lisa, hi Lisa. How do you get people interested in hearing more about your product or services? I give it away. Basically, I give it away. And this model has worked for so many of our SCORE clients. It has worked for so many of my personal clients. I am giving something away now in hopes that people will one day think fondly of me and say, gosh, I'd like to know more about that Cheri Bales. I'm going to go to www.cheribales.com. I'm going to read about her. It's being in front of people. It's sending an email out with a link to learn about your newest blog story that you've written, which is called, Why People Try to Do Too Much Social Media. But I think, again, it's repetition. It's information, it's transparency, and it's needs versus wants at this point. What else is on here? Approach marketing. How to approach marketing with a small agency. Catherine, Rockhaven Ministries. Hi. You write a marketing plan, or you use a strategy that pulls together the tools that you need. And for most business marketing strategies, you need a website. I would venture a guess to say you must have a website. You must have a Google, I can't say must, because I know businesses that don't have either, and they do fine. You should have a website, in my humble opinion. You should have a Google My Business page, in my humble opinion. You should have a Facebook page, in my humble opinion. And you should have an email marketing platform. Now, beyond that, go to Twitter, sure. Go to Instagram, great. Put stuff on Pinterest, get a YouTube channel, go to WhatsApp, start Snapchatting, go for it. But master the big ones first, the ones that are going to get you the most return on your investment. And that's going to be your website, your email marketing, your Google My Business, free Google My Business, don't forget, and your Facebook page for your business. And I think, John, that gets us pretty close to done, unless there are folks who have other questions.
Cheri, you've done a great job. I don't see any new questions coming up. I think you covered off all the ones that were previously submitted. I also want to mention to everybody that in the chat area, I posted a few links. One is to your free Constant Contact 60-day. There's a couple others in there, including Cheri's blog, which she is making available. And the link for next week's webinar, which is how to write effective marketing emails for any situation. We'll give it like another 30 seconds to a minute. And if we don't see any questions coming through,
now's
we'll
your chance.
call it a wrap.
Ask me anything. Ask me anything. I'm looking back on another list of questions here to see if there's anything that I can hop in here with.
And again, I will remind everybody that you will be getting a link to this recording. And you can go and review this all over again if there's some things that you missed out on. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, for your kind comments. I'm glad that you were able to log in. And
If that's it, I guess we'll see you next Monday, same
I
time,
think
same
that's it.
channel.
Yep.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you, Cheri.